Chapter 1. The Pact of the Seas. Friday, April the 5th, 1912. Mortlake, southwest London, United Kingdom. 5 days before the RMS Titanic sets out from Southampton's main passenger port. It would not stand. He would not let it affect him. No more. He said these 3 phrases to himself. He then affirmed these same words out loud. I am Hugh of the McElroy family. I will not be bullied so. It will not stand. I will not let it affect me. No more of this. He had read a letter which had been given him that morning from the barge master, Mr. Goodwin. He was to be let go immediately on this very same day. He was no longer needed as an employee and wouldn't be beholden any longer to load or unload barges at Goodwin and Barkham Limited of Mortlake's barge wharf with full and legal effect. The floorboards and worn carpet both made his thick boot make a distinct thud as it landed firmly on the ground. Some pieces of dust and breadcrumbs rattled gently just before a dull knocking sound and angry call came from below. It was Mrs. Breacher, the butcher's wife. She could damn well go to hell. Forgive my language, Mother Mary, he muttered to himself, secretly thanking the Lord for giving him the opportunity to move away from his hometown many years ago. He best not complain, he thought. Could be worse. He took a swig of whisky which had been left open for the last 4 days, thus oxidizing and tasting even more acrid and sour than it had when he'd first opened it. It ran down his stubble-clad throat with ease, and an onlooker would have observed the taut, angled jawline which so many had lusted over in secret. His angular, handsome face often got him compliments, even from some of the rowing club boys who he barely ever spoke to. It felt wrong, but he often enjoyed those interactions more than any. He couldn't place his finger on it, but always ended up thinking of those same boys in his head while working at the barge pier just down the road. That place would follow him to the grave, he thought to himself, resigned. Even in hell, that loading work won't give me rest, for my back will be broken before I die. The majesty of it, he thought, the sheer size of the Titanic. What a sign it will be upon mine own eyes when I see her in person. Rumour has it, it's unsinkable, and the largest ship built for decades. It truly is a remarkable feat of proper Irish workmanship, a testament to God's grace and the power of ancestors who came before. For Hugh, the Titanic wasn't just a ship. It was a symbol. It was a harbinger of fate. On it, he'd not only get freedom and proof that all his struggles were worth it, but also peace. He'd finally get to meet back up with his childhood friend, Finnegan, whom he'd spent many a year with in the fields. Finnegan. A handsome fellow. At that moment his trousers stirred and he felt something start to happen impulsively. It was sinful, he knew that, but he kept thinking of them both together in the River Dam in southern Dunleath all those years ago. His fair hair, his pallid skin that shone brightly in the sunlight, showing off his chestnut eyes and smooth lips. He remembered the lips. Astor, he thought, that ancient phrase that summed up his love for his friend. A childhood darling, a suitable Gaelic phrase for a beautiful Gaelic boy, he reminisced. He touched his manhood rhythmically with his left hand as he fiddled around with some items on his desk, still thinking of Finnegan as he felt a growing fondness growing in his heart and blood rushing down below into the trousers. The wanting inside him was great. The thought of Finnegan was too elusive and sinful to name. He hadn't seen him for almost 3 years now, and dearly did he miss him. He glanced out of the small cottage window towards the corner of Kew Bridge. 9 years ago he'd been on top of that bridge when he'd celebrated its construction and final completion in 1903. Now he'd have to say goodbye to that behemoth of structural engineering that connected Brentford, a busy barge and coal hub, with the ancient village of Kew. But such works are not for our keeping, he ruminated, still staring into the distance at the south side of Kew Bridge, next to the large passenger and goods barge wharf. Such marvels are for the ages, an eternal gift to those who, in centuries from now, will reap the benefits of our heavy raw ironworks. But he stayed humble, knowing his part in constructing great works such as Kew Bridge were nothing. He had only helped move lumber and general handiwork, anything to get a wage for an honest day's work, trusting in God to provide. He did have a lot of crack with the lads from the site though, specifically down at the rowing club. He wondered briefly what they'd be doing as he'd be making his way across the great Atlantic Ocean on the Titanic. A great ship, such as she, should be a thing of his dreams. How lucky he was to be sailing in her steadfast galleys. In time, Hugh. In time, he thought, a glimmer of hope in his mind, wishing he could fly, like a bird, directly to Connecticut, without needing a great ship, such as the RMS Titanic. He glanced down at the letter that he hadn't yet opened. It was to decide his fate. In it, there would be a formal offer of employment along with instructions and a train ticket from London Waterloo to Southampton Central 1 day prior to the departure of the ship on the 10th. To be a fly on the wall when Mrs. Breacher, the butcher's wife, would learn of his swift and sudden departure. The sun was shining brightly through a half-overcast sky of deep nautical blues. A ray of sunshine shone in through the small window and took him by surprise, as it reflected off of the letter of thick parchment paper, the wax seal reflecting a small glimmer of reddish-brown directly to his eye, a sign from heaven, no less. He'd wait till tomorrow to open the letter. To open it earlier would only tempt fate. He wanted to wait until he had finished his week and had more rest after the day that he'd had.